DSPN, the Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
It was yesterday, 30 years ago at Mount Smart. Who can forget? If you were around and you were there, I think I've met about 150,000 people who were there that night. I was living in Wellington at the time. The whole country stopped. 1 million people watched it on TV. What am I talking about? It was the Warriors' first, not NRL game, because in those days it was the ARL. Against the Brisbane Broncos, 25-22 loss it was, and people remember everything about it. They remember where they were. They remember the war games that went on beforehand, the big flash extravaganza that it was, and the DB Bitter Warriors led out by Dean Bell. Well, our man Zane The Warriorholic has been a fan since that very day. 30 years, mate. It's longer than your marriage.
Oh, I tell you, mate, over half my life now. It's a bloody long time.
It
it's
is.
One of the few things I can remember from that far back.
It's so constant, though, isn't it, in your life?
Yeah, it's weird, though. I was sitting thinking about this yesterday, that I can remember that first round, but if you asked me who they played in the second round, I couldn't tell you.
We lost to West, I think it was, or a team like that, or we got belted about 50 points. Was it West we lost? Yeah, I know. I just remember the next round wasn't as flash. And if you remember what happened at the end of the year, we didn't make the 8 or the finals because...
We lost to the Broncos in round one.
No, we got undone by a television reporter who spotted the fact that we had too many subs on the bench or something like that, a technicality, and we got 2 points. It might have been Western Sydney. We got 2 points taken off us for a win that would have put us up there. Anyway,
that's right.
Your love affair for 30 years, mate. Does the love go stronger over the years?
Oh, it depends how you define love, right? Because I think love and hate and can be pretty close at times.
They can be,
there.
yeah.
I'd say the passions never wane.
Right. I mean, look, and this is the truth. This is a love relationship with this team. Like most of us who support sports teams are. There are times where they just drive you absolutely friggin' crazy and you swear you're going to walk away from them. This thing is wrecking my life. I don't need you in my life anymore. But what happens?
I'll tell you what, mate, you know me well that I've walked away at the middle of games and gone and cut down trees, particularly that game against the Sharks in 2023 that we came back and won.
That's right.
I had to go and take a break there.
I mean, and so far over the 30 years, do you have highlights or do you have more lowlights than highlights?
I think, the human brain's interesting that you'll never remember pain at the level it was at the time. So like I had my appendix out, mate. And in theory, that pain was the most ridiculous thing I could ever, have experienced, but I can't recall it to that much detail anymore. I think you remember the good times way better. Otherwise, women would never have 2 kids.
Yeah, good point, actually. Although I find with my sports teams, and some of them have had success and some haven't, I always remember the worst times. Those are the ones that stick with me. It's like the Black Caps losing that 2019 final. I don't think I'll ever get over 1992, that semi-final loss to Pakistan at Eden Park. And despite all the wins and the glories that you have, those ones just cut. Do you have worst and best moments with your Warriors?
Honestly, I don't recall the losses in that much detail. I think I'm able to filter them out. And I don't have that sporting memory that you have. I really envy people like you can,
It's not a good thing, bro. It's actually not a good thing.
I'm going to give this guy a shout out, mate. The guy Hayden who I went to school with back in the day, he'll tell you what the temperature was, which way the wind was blowing,
Brilliant.
what colour boots the guy was playing back in 1989.
Yep.
I can't remember that. But it's just certain moments like, put that ball down, son, with Michael Witt. I think it was. It's like,
Who botched the pass against Parramatta?
Oh, don't ask me those details, mate.
God,
I tell you,
when we actually had a finals here. It was,
too many head knocks.
That'll come to me. So why are they so loved, this club, this team?
I think, we had a bit of a chat in this and the DMs before, like preparing for this, and I got me thinking I put it back to the day, there used to be a big rift between union and rugby league in New Zealand.
Much bigger than there is now, yeah.
And I think the introduction of the Winfield Cup in the late 80s started to build, people like myself, I was a rugby union head, build our interest. But when we finally got that team, it united, even though it was the Auckland Warriors at the time, it united a nation of league fans to give them that one central team to focus on.
Yep.
So it was the league versus union, but it was also us against the Aussies. It was the first real comp where we went in as underdogs.
Yep.
You know, I know we had the Super Rugby back in the day, but we always kind of dominated. It was quite even, but I think that was what it was. It's just like us against them.
Could you imagine life without this club in your life?
I don't know, I'd probably be pretty fat from that cooking channel I started in the off-season to fill in the time when I got sick of trying to make up stuff to talk about the Warriors, mate. So if that was 12 months of the year, I don't think my doctor would like it.
How do they dominate your life during the season? To what extent?
I tell you, I've got a good mate, Jake, over in Melbourne. He's a Kiwi guy. He's moved up to the Gold Coast now. Him and I have started to question whether we're actually got some kind of mental health issue, because
yes, you do.
We can't go a day without, even over the off season, like putting out a theory or trying to figure out how something will work.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because I drift in and out of franchise sport and any other sport in the world. I loved rugby growing up, but I was never that obsessed with the Canes. And I'll always support my country teams like the All Blacks. But when it comes to franchise sport, before the Warriors, I started out as a Balmain fan, then I was a Manly fan,
I was a
Knights fan.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is about the Warriors. There's just something about them that got me emotionally that I just can't give up on.
There you go. That's it. It's like that girl that you've always loved. And it doesn't matter that she treats you like rubbish. It doesn't matter that she's banging your best friend. It doesn't matter she nicked all your CDs when she left. If she walked past and looked and said, would you like lunch? You're going for lunch, mate, aren't you? You're going for lunch. You can't turn it down, mate.
It's that, I don't know if it's lust or love. Yeah, that thing you think you're in love in high school, you know that she's wrong for you, mate. There's no logical reason. They could hurt you every time.
Every time.
But you still keep going back. But it's kind of like your kids, mate, right? It doesn't matter what they do, and the cops come knocking at 2 o'clock in the morning to wake you up. Your kids have done something stupid. You still love them.
Of course. Love this team, after 30 years, and love them more?
I think ever since I've started doing this Warriorholic thing, watching the games in a lot more detail, going back and forcing myself to watch the losses and appreciating like how close this competition is, that even watching that game in Las Vegas, watching it live, I felt like they absolutely destroyed us in the forwards. But then when you go back and watch it, it wasn't as bad as you realize, and it was just those, little bounces of the ball that made such a huge difference, and particularly with the NRL now with the momentum.
It's hope, mate.
It's hard to get back,
what it
right?
is it's hope. That's what it is. It's hope.
It is.
Yeah.
You can talk yourself into it more, and I feel sorry for those fans who just function on emotion. And you see some of the irrational calls.
Yeah, and I don't mind that, though. I just think that that's fair, because that's what it does for us. As men, we're allowed to express our emotions through this. I'll leave you with this, and I say this with all the love in my heart as well. I think, the Warriors to me are like lotto, right? That when you take a lotto ticket, you're full of hope, and you just think, you dream, and you think, it's me, I'm going to do it. I'll give this money to such, I'll give this money. But deep down, you really know it's not going to be you. It's going to be someone from bumhole somewhere in the country that you've never heard of before. And it's not going to be you. But every now and again, you win $38 on a 5th division prize, don't you? And that keeps you hooked, and that keeps you coming back. The Warriors are the Lotto 5th division of professional sport until we win something. That's what they are. They just keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Mate, it's like hitting a hole-in-one last week on the bloody
No one saw it, dude.
And no one saw it.
You've got a photo of a ball in a cup going, I hit a hole-in-one, and we're going, yeah.
No one believes it. So, I don't know, mate. It would be the year that I give up on them that they actually win.
That's why you can't do it ever, right?
That's right, mate. But up the Mighty Warriors, we're going to beat Manly this weekend. We've got to do it.
There you go. That's what 30 years of love tells you.
Yeah, stupidity or passion, I don't know. One of the two, but I love them.
DSPN.